following program was provided by an independent producer solely responsible for its content. The opinions expressed do not necessarily represent the views of this station, its staff, board of directors, or underwriters.
Welcome to Fairy Tale Access, where the head fairy's quest is to prove that fairy tales do exist in actual time rather than once upon a time. Together, we will unravel the heroes, young and old, who turn dreams into reality. These are the people who still believe in happily ever after. The discoveries will bend even our most cynical non-believers into believing in fairy tales. Hi, welcome to Fairy Tale Access. I'm the head fairy, and my friends and I are going to release fairy tale accessible destinations very soon. Together, we'll be unraveling some of the most fascinating and beautiful places in the world. So to prepare you for that, I have a great book to review with you. It's called My Family is Different, and it talks about all of the different religions in the world. And some interesting information about the author is that Miss Jessica is a Wiccan mother of 2. She writes several other children's books, but this one especially is great. It talks about knowing other children that practice different religions, and all of it is okay. So the book we'll talk about today is called My Family is Different. Everybody's family is different, and you'll be surprised at the things that are covered in this cute little book. So I want to introduce you to Miss Jessica Marie, the author of My Family is Different, and she's going to share what inspired her to write the book. And we're going to introduce you to the illustrator who created some lovely pictures. And then the author is going to share the entire story with you. So enjoy. I'm going to introduce you to Miss Jessica Marie Baumgartner.
Hi Denise, thanks for having me on Fairy Tale Access. I'm honored. So I wrote this little story about a girl who realizes that her family is different. They celebrate a different faith than most. When she questions her friends about it, she comes to realize that they all have different customs and different religions themselves, and that makes her feel good because we're all different. I'm raising 2 little witches like myself, and I wanted to write a story that makes them feel good about who we are while also reaching out to others. We live in such diverse times nowadays that I find it's kind of silly that there aren't more stories like this. You know, I've had a lot of teachers and just parents, grandparents come to me and say they really love this story and they're starved for more material like it. There are a lot of publishers out there that don't accept books on religion at all. They just say, we will not take this material, period. And I feel like I understand why. There's a lot of division when you talk about something like religion or anything that's kind of controversial. I don't really know why it's controversial anymore. You know, we live in a time where some of your neighbors are Jewish, some of your neighbors are Christian, and some of your neighbors are Wiccan, like me. So I don't understand why it's considered taboo. We've gotten great reviews. Pathos did a really nice piece on the book, and Pathos is a pagan reviewer, and they have lots of different things to say to pagans. And we also have reached beyond that, of course, because it's not just a book about any one religion. It's about connecting through finding the similarities between all religions. We got a 5-star review from Reader's Favorite. That's a national book reviewer, so I feel really good about that. The idea actually just popped into my head one day. I was actually picking up my college degree, and just something simple, but when you have that sense of accomplishment, I think it fuels something within you, and this idea just popped into my head, and I had to come home and write it down real fast. And I wrote it down on this little tiny notepad, and I have it stapled in my room still, in this little like flip book words. It's a very simple book for young children, and I wrote it down real fast, but I also had to sit down after a while and kind of pull it apart and kind of figure out what I really wanted to say and how I wanted it to be said. Because when you're writing a children's book, you're dealing with an audience of young minds that are still being shaped and molded. I find it refreshing. I find it to be one of the greatest things out there because children want to learn. You know, some people, if you talk about a religion that they don't necessarily follow, they kind of shut down. And it's not necessarily about somebody trying to get you to convert or something like that. Sometimes it's just someone trying to share with you and be themselves. Sometimes being yourself is hard when you're different. And I just wanted to write something about how being different doesn't have to be a bad thing. So this book is very important to me, and I feel like the message, the theme, speaks to people on a level that I've wanted people to speak on. I know that sounds kind of silly, but we lose this genuine connection when we just avoid certain subjects. So what I did is I decided to get an illustrator, and I posted on Facebook because I knew I didn't have the artistic ability to do what I wanted the pictures to be. And I found a friend of a friend, who of course is a friend now, Laura Winship-Finney. She's very talented, and she pulled the images right out of my head. I didn't have to give her much instruction. The pictures she made were exactly what I wanted. And I started shopping around for a publisher. We got a couple of rejections, that's expected, but what I didn't expect was that we would be picked up so fast. THD Star Dragon Publishing is teeny tiny, but they have a lot of heart, and the lady who runs it loved the story, wanted to pick it up right away because she felt that it's a book that needs to be it's a story that needs to be told. And I am the same way. I felt like when I wrote it, it wasn't about, ooh, I'm writing a book. It was, I'm telling a story. I'm weaving a specific type of tale that will reach out to people. And that's the whole reason that writers write. Children's book authors too. You're trying to reach somebody on a very basic level, and it's really about the human connection. For us to come together and be able to sit down and be who we are and enjoy that and celebrate that. I wouldn't have it any other way. Since the release of the book, I've gotten, I have a library reading, and I get to get out in the community. I get to sell books at my favorite bookstore from when I was a kid. It's really amazing to be able to go out and share your story. So it's available on Amazon. You can have it ordered at any bookstore. That's the great thing about our day and age. You can find any book anywhere and have it ordered. So yeah, thanks for having me on. The book is My Family is Different, and I hope that it reaches you and others as much as it touched me when it came out of me.
Hi. It's always interesting to meet the authors of the books that we like to read, and the illustrators are equally interesting. They're the people who create visual images that just draw us into the story and make us ask more questions. Today's illustrator is Laura Winship-Finney. Here she is. I hope you enjoy what she has to say.
Hi, my name is Laura Winship-Finney, and I'm the illustrator of the book My Family is Different by Jessica Baumgartner. It's hard to talk about yourself. I don't always know where to start. So I guess I'll start by saying that art has always been in me, and it's always been something I've been interested in, but really, really became something that I loved to do when I was about in middle school, and I started to collect comic books. I loved comic books. It was this incredible alternate world and reality, and I would try to draw my favorite characters because I really wasn't getting very good instruction at my schools. And then I kind of got into the role-playing thing, and I think I really enjoyed that mostly because we got to create these characters, and the characters were very similar to the ones that I was reading in the comic books. And so I would then draw my character, and it was really exciting and fun to be able to take out of your head this image that you've got and put it on paper the way that you see it. And it's hard and it's frustrating and it takes a lot of time and skill and effort, and you got to push yourself to get there, but it's really fun once you've figured out how to put these simple shapes together to make these complex pictures. So I looked for a long time to figure out what I wanted to do for a living, and I realized that it was art. And so I became a teacher, and I teach art. And every day I get to use mediums. I get to use oil pastels, chalk pastels, watercolors, acrylic paints, clay, anything really. And I draw all the time, because when you're trying to teach someone how to do something, you have to do it in front of them. You demonstrate. That's part of, it's a major part of my job. So I've become pretty good at drawing, and I've become pretty good at pulling those images out of my head and putting them on paper the way that I see them. So I'm on Facebook one day. I've been teaching for, a little while now, about 11, 12 years. And I'm kind of ready to dip my toe into something a little more exciting, but still teach. And I see that Jessica, who's a friend of a friend, but that I've met a couple times and really liked, was looking for an illustrator. So I was like, hey, I would be interested in trying that. I've never published before, but tell me what you got. I didn't know she was pagan, and I don't think she knew that I was atheist. I grew up in a Presbyterian family, very Christian. So when I got the book from Jessica, I was instantly in love. My favorite part is how she took such a complex and heated subject and made it something not only simple, but really sweet, and a beautiful way of talking about how to accept each other for the unique individuals that we are, and the unique families that we come from, and the unique situations that we come from, and how to not only be accepting of it, but embrace it and find out what it's all about. So as I'm reading this and loving every word that I'm reading, all these images were sparking in my head, and I could see the book. Now, as an illustrator, you don't know if the vision that you're seeing is what the author is seeing. So it's nerve-wracking to put those things down on paper and not really know if they're going to be accepted, or if they're going to go, not really what I was looking for. So I took a chance, and I drew out the first couple pictures and sent them to her, and my response was, oh my God, Laura, it's like you reached inside my head and pulled these images out and put them on paper the way that I saw them. So I was thrilled. And every page after that was the same. She was just saying, oh my gosh, another, home run on this picture. And so it went really smoothly. And it was an amazing experience. And it made us closer friends. And when she sent it off to the first couple publishers and said no, I'm like, hey girl, I've heard it takes a couple of years to get published. Don't worry about it. This book is going to make it. This book needs to be out there, and somebody's going to recognize that it does. And before I knew it, we had this little publishing company out of California, Star Dragon Publishing, that chose to take it on and publish us. It's a little publishing company, so, I was just thrilled. And Jessica's definitely the engine that runs this whole ship. She's going to make it happen. And so we signed the contract. And when I got that first copy in my hand, it was the most amazing feeling ever. And my daughter read it that day. I have several pictures of her sitting and just reading it over and over and over again and going, Mom, this book is so great because we're different too. And she shared it with some of her friends who also are not Christians. She had some friends that were Hindu and some friends that are Jewish, and they all loved it because it's written in such a way that it's not confrontational at all. It's just love. It's just telling us that we need to accept each other for who we are and love the differences between us. So I hope to do this again with Jessica, and I hope that you buy the book, that everybody buys the book, because it's wonderful. It's wonderful. And I had such an amazing experience making it. So thank you.
Okay, you never know what kind of career you'll have, but if you enjoy drawing, you could be an illustrator, just like Miss Laura. Next, I want to share the entire story with you so you can understand some of the people and the places that we're going to go, and the author is sharing this story with her children and yours. Enjoy.
Okay, do you want to read Mommy's book?
Yeah.
Okay, it's called My Family is Different, right?
Yeah.
Okay. My family is different. Mommy says everybody's family is different, but I don't know. We believe in God and Goddess. We honor the moon and all its shapes. We even have our own holidays. We sure seem different. So I asked my friends. My best friend goes to church and believes in people called saints. Another one says that she is Christian too, but follows the Book of Mormon. I then learned that there are many different types of Christians, but they all believe in this really nice guy named Jesus. One of my friends goes to temple and has his own holidays as well. I know a girl who goes to a mosque, and I also have a couple of friends who say that they don't worship anything, and that's okay too. Flying spaghetti monster! I was happy to learn that I have a friend who believes in many gods, so I guess my mom is right. Everyone's family is different, and that makes me feel good. Now I know that we are all different.
Well, I hope you enjoyed that segment of Fairy Tale Access. And instead of thinking about how things might be in different countries, we're actually going to go there and see them as they really are and bring the stories home to you. In the 1700s, English writer Samuel Johnson said, "The use of traveling is to regulate imagination by reality. As the head fairy, the last thing I want to do is give you more rules and regulations. If you follow my quest, together we'll unravel the fairy tales taking place right now. And we'll see them as they really are, and our imaginations will be enhanced by the people, places, and things that we share with each other. After all, traveling the world is indeed like a book. And we all know if we only read a page, we're never going to reach happily ever after. So I want you all to grab your backpack and get ready to go on a quest."